I just remember when the news broke that I was super excited and I could still pursue that dream of mine. I still had the ability to go out there and compete for a national title.
I was grateful for the relaunch for the PWBA Tour when it actually came back, being able to pursue my dreams and win titles. I'm just fortunate that we're back here today.
There's so many girls out there now, been out there for a few years, some that are just coming up, and some are going to be great stars. And you want to see this tour go on for a long time.
This is an historic night for professional bowling. The PWBA Tour is back.
Zavala, another strike, and she is the champion of the 2022 PWBA Tour Championship. Yeah! Legend lives on. What a moment for Shannon O'Keefe. Gets another, finally. She's got a trophy in her arms again. We are on the verge of yet another chapter of this incredible story.
Tim Foy.
To clinch her second title of the season. Indeed. Brandon. There it is. Nice. Bang.
Winning shot. Simo.
Ten years ago, the PWBA Tour relaunched, and Topeka, Kansas was a featured stop in its return. Now the tour is back in celebration of the 10th anniversary season, and a new champion set to be crowned here at Westwood Lanes tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Emil Williams Jr. alongside Sidney Brummett, and Sid inside a sold-out Westwood Lanes. Topeka has come out to celebrate tonight, and what a good reason it is to celebrate. 5 of the top players in the world have converged here. We're going to crown a champion tonight. It is a fantastic mood, a fantastic situation, Sid. First and foremost, it's the 10th anniversary of the PWBA since the relaunch. That means a ton to you and certainly every other player, fan, spectator in the building. When you think about that moment, what does 10 years since the relaunch mean to you in this situation?
It's just really cool. I mean, we're back in Topeka. Who wouldn't want to be back here and have a place to play?
Place to play indeed, and 5 players certainly are going to play tonight, led by Brianna Clemmer. She is your top seed. Over came Shayna Ung, who had led all the 3 previous rounds up until the round of 12, really about the last 2 games. Brianna Clemmer, Clover, South Carolina's finest. She's got the 4-leaf Clover jersey on, too, which we know is lucky. What does she have to do to get it done today?
She just has to be herself. I mean, she keeps putting herself in position to win. I mean, she bowled great on the show last year at the U.S. Open. She ran him over in Clearwater when she won. She just has to believe that it's possible. I know she had a lot of conversations with Jason Wojner, the ball rep for Brunswick, headed into this show. And I think if she sticks to those plans and she sticks to who she is, she's got a really great shot at that tonight.
That number 2 seed is Shayna Ung, as we talked about, and her game plan looked to be pretty simple throughout the day. Rockstar was in play. She talked about a little bit in regards to the Ion Maxim, the equipment pieces that she used. That forward roll has been very, very good. I assume it would be good today. What say you?
Yeah, I would assume so. And anytime you can get your bowling ball to slow down on this pattern soon enough before you get to the fun little Tetris blocks and speed bump and everything else that Nick Hoagland put into this pattern, it is beneficial. And so Shayna will be no stranger to having potential to have great ball motion and a win today.
Speaking of ball motion, we saw Verity Crawley extensively use urethane in the round of 12, and it looked spectacular. She is the number 3 seed tonight. Should we anticipate urethane from one Verity Crawley?
Yes, she was shooting a lot of spares in the warm-up. It tells me that she's going to have the intention to throw urethane. She's trying to save that part of the lane for when she does come to bowl, because she ends up being the person that's furthest to the right. Not something we often get to say about VC.
Indeed, and the opening match, number 4 seed is Lindsey Boomershine. Of course, broke through a couple of seasons ago winning the USBC Queens, but now nearly turning 40. She's a mom. Mother's Day is tomorrow. She's bowling for Aiden, bowling for her mom as well. It could be a grand situation for Lindsey, and she has been so consistent throughout the weekend.
Yeah, she's someone who I talked about during that round of 12 is just quietly sneaking up the leaderboard. She's consistent. She's just prepared to win, but you never really know that she's like climbing her way up until, boom, all of a sudden Lindsey's on the show.
And Brianna Cote, the 5th seed, and Cote every single round, she had to do what she had to do, double in the 10th. Last 4 last night to make the show. She shoots 205 to get here in the morning. Then, as we saw in the round of 12 today, does what she had to do to get in front of Jane Sin. Brianna Cote, you talking about someone who is experienced, knows how to win, knows what to do in the big moments. This is her 24th career show. How does Bree get it done tonight?
Bree is the definition of patience when it comes to being a bowler. She is really okay with hitting the 1-3, making her spares, and letting the score speak for itself. Here in this building this week, it wasn't the most difficult to hit the 1-3 every time. It was difficult for all of them to fall down. Bree will be the person who gets the least frustrated in that journey, and that will serve her positively.
There's a good look at Brianna Cote as practice and these final warm-up shots are taking place. As we get set to start here, our championship showdown here in just a few seconds. There's the player compare graphic. All graphics tonight brought to you in part by Lane Talk. And you see Glimmer 211.67, Shayna Ung 211.21. Verity Crawley 211.08, 209, and 207 for Boomershine and Cote respectively. Those averages certainly say a little bit, but they don't tell the full story in that sense. Sid, what stands out to you in regards to those stats we see here?
I'm looking at the number one stat that stands out to me on this sheet is Lindsey's strike-on-strike percentage. So how often does she double? 57%. That's 2% higher than the next person. It means that when she has an opportunity and she's seeing the lane properly, she's going to have the opportunity for the most score. Bowling rewards us for strikes in a row, and so Lindsey will have that opportunity, according to these stats, more often than anybody else.
There's your PWBA brand manager, Robin Graves, with the final announcements. Well, how about this crowd? We talked about them in the open. Give a lot of credit to Mike McBride, the proprietors here, Mike the GM, the proprietors, Jerry Kessler, Jesse James, and their entire staff, turning this settee and everything in between and getting it ready in just about an hour and a half. Cote will start the match. First shot. And a 3-6-10. Everybody's favorite. I know it's yours, Sydney Brummett.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world spare. I mean, you can make it if you slide where you're supposed to and hit somewhere near your target. Definitely a makeable one, just not most people's preferred makeable one.
Cote, 39 years old, from Tucson, Arizona. 5 career titles. Again, this is her 24th career show. Good look down lane. Spencer Mosier on camera. Chase Coffin on the 1s and 2s. Curtis Von Kruger behind the scenes capturing content as well. First look at Lindsey Boomershine. It's been a popular piece of equipment for Lindsay this week. The 900 Global Origin EX. True TV-like feel. Boomer shine. 3, 6, 9, 10.
So, this one's a bit less friendly. And it's because of that 9 pin. That's the pin that you have to worry about. Most players will hook at this. It gives them an opportunity to cover the 9 pin. They'll move their feet to the left in order to make it.
Been plenty of 3, 6, 9, 10s left. 3, 6, 10s as you talked about, Sydney, as well. Great conversion for a popular leave on a very difficult lane condition here.
If we were in the bowlers area during qualifying, you'd hear a lot of, that felt like a double. That's how hard that spare is.
There's a good look at it. You want that ball to be able to help take out the 9, and that's a sigh of relief, especially in frame 1 for both players, a 3, 6, 10 and a 3, 6, 9, 10. Second shot, a little better, but the result is worse. 2, 4, 10 there for Boomershine.
Yeah, it feels like Lindsay just showed us the 2 most common leaves that we had this week. 2 pin combinations. When you got the ball just slightly to the right of where you wanted, when it didn't hook soon enough, and then when you got it in front of you, you got it into the flat part of the pattern, you would 3, 6, 10.
Let's see if we get a Bowl TV highlight here early. Count, however, is very good. An early advantage to Brianna Cote. Thank you to the good people here in Topeka, Kansas. They've been very friendly, good to talk with. Another hustle into the hand of Brianna Cote. That's a different ball than she had in frame 1. And now she too with a 3, 6, 9, 10 on the right lane.
Yeah, we saw in the round of 12 that the right lane wanted to hook sooner than the left. It was common throughout the week for that as well.
See it. Shot to the heart. Boomershine converted hers in the first frame. Can Cote convert here in frame 2? It's not like they didn't have enough practice here this week at those spares.
Yeah, you learned pretty quickly how much you needed to move for those.
Trying to see which ball she is going to choose here. So she's already thrown 2. It could be a 1 ball on each lane scenario.
Yeah, I think that is what we're looking at here. It's just a different hustle. So hustle camo on the left lane.
Can she be the first to strike? She will. Caves in what looked to be trouble. And gets a nice round of applause here from the Topeka crowd. And now back to Boomershine. Trailing early in the match. Big shout out to Carrie Ogle, our down lane photographer here this week. Got to peel. Wow. That has been a common hit too, right? We've seen some wrap 7-10s. We've seen, of course, hits just like that. Sometimes the 7 goes, sometimes the 10 goes. Neither tends to go at the same time, however.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because as a player, you're like, oh, I threw it exactly how I wanted to, and now my result is bad. And it's the hardest thing in bowling is how do I separate my result from my process?
Single pin converted. Chestnut checkers, as our guy Spencer would say. And boy, that does explain a little bit about this lane condition. Starting to hear the warm-up. His shots across the way. Verity Crawley, the number 3 seed from England. Number 2 seed, Shayna Ung of Singapore. Top seed, Brianna Clemmer of Clover, South Carolina. Can Boomershine strike on the left lane? You bet. 42 feet of goodness, 31.52 mils. And if you see kind of that checkerboard-ish like feel to it, that's what we're referring to. Sydney, how can you best describe to the viewers here what you bowled on this week?
Hard. Really, really difficult. I think it's something we're going to see a lot from Nick Hoagland moving forward with the new Atlas Pro machines that were designed at Kegel. There's the availability for him to not have to cross board 20. That is what is unique and what allows those little Tetris blocks at the end of the pattern. So he can create different shapes, and what he's trying to do is take a pattern that he feels like would be just a bit too easy and make it a little bit more difficult. It's a great shot from Bree.
That 10 pin just sits almost like it was nailed down to the pin deck. Good looking shot, good execution. And just right of the down lane tracer, which has been common in regards to lane play and strategy. Said it was a common theme for reps and players, round 2 specifically last night, for players to remain further right, start further right, try to stay there as long as possible. When you get, of course, an opportunity to try to set up a pair the way you'd like, I still see, of course, players still in the same zone, and that's the scoreable zone, certainly on this pattern.
Yeah, no doubt. You hope that the 5 people that have made the show are all going to have a similar idea of how you want to play the lanes, because what makes patterns like these so difficult is when you have people playing all over the place, and that happened in round 1. I think that's why scores were so low. And then we saw everybody migrate to the right. It got a little bit more playable. We saw lots of strings of strikes at the end of round 2 yesterday. And so it becomes more available for score. I don't think that means that it will necessarily happen.
We know she can strike on the left lane. It's a little right, though. And no trouble from the split situation. Just a 2-8, but those have been tricky.
Yeah, 2-8s have been tricky because traditionally you'll move somewhere between 2 and 5 to the right, depending on your rev rate to speed ratio, to make them and leave your eyes in the same spot. But if you do that on this pattern with those Tetris blocks, it's possible that you hit those little, what feels like splotches of oil on the lane at the wrong time. And if it's too far to the left, you're in the flat part of the pattern and you may hook past it. If it's to the right, you may only get 1 pin or maybe none.
2-8. Perfect.
I didn't jinx it too much. Love that.
That's because it's not the round of 12. But you did get a couple of people. I think it was back-to-back.
I need to send an apology note.
Keep an eye on Brianna Cote taking that thumb slug out. The left side of your screen there, maybe a brief tape adjustment.
With her turbos, that sometimes the sleeve can be a bit loose, and so she uses that red tape to securely put the thumb into the ball so it won't feel like it's moving. And occasionally one ball will feel slightly different than the other. And so you can use those. She uses red. Most people would think of it traditionally as black tape to let it feel secure. And so in one hustle, she may need one piece of that red tape and the other one, maybe two.
Good breakdown there for what Cote is working with. Meanwhile, Boomershine, and that's been key, right? If you leak it right, you're in that 2-8 combination zone, in this case 2-10. And right now the score certainly telling the story. Cote clean through 5. Boomershine will give this one a run. 2 splits, 2 opens for Lindsey Boomershine. And now with some serious work to do here. This one far from over.
Yeah, with both players, as I'm sitting here now, if I was in their corner, if I'm in the ring with them, you know, I'm saying, hey, we need to get our ball to slow down just a couple feet sooner. They're not that far off, neither player. They could slow down, they could roll it more.
Boomershine, 39 years old, from Brigham City, Utah. Shout out to Aiden and Hank. All of the Boomershine family. That's a good one. Oh, yeah. Great shot there from Lindsey. Boy, you keep throwing it like that, Boomershine, you can certainly understand how she would feel, right? Giving away some pins already just from the split perspective. There's a good looking shot there.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets. She's saying to herself, I just want to do that on the right lane.
Back to Cote, right lane. Right now it's going to be, at least for Bree, right? She's leaving things she can make. She's made them to this point. Boomershine, because of the splits, hasn't yet challenged completely, but all it takes is a double, as we know, to get yourself right back in this game.
Yeah, it appears that Bree is weighing the risk versus reward idea here. She has less risk using the strategy that she's using right now. She's going to get to the 1-3. Is she going to strike a lot? Possibly. I know Bree to be someone who can kind of will pins down if she really wants them to fall down somehow. Even when her ball motion isn't the greatest, she finds a way to get 10. But Lindsey is more on the risky side of the strategy here, going more left to right. On the shots that aren't the greatest, and so she is paying full penalty when the shots are not perfectly online.
Cote, former Central Missouri All-Star, legit 4-time first-team All-American. Former college coach Ron Holmes was in attendance this week. Great shot. Best friend Sarah Strickland in the building as well. Now can Boomershine maybe apply a little bit of pressure, just give it a go, knock at the door. 2 identical shots, one from Cote, one from Boomershine, in regards to lane play. Balls went tracking from start to finish in the exact same manner. It's early, but it feels like perhaps the most important shot here for Boomershine. Frame 7. Get on the horse. 2-4-8. This is the 11th career telecast for Boomershine. Mentioned the Open, of course, her first title, a major. What happened here, Sid?
Ball just is going too long. We have to be okay when we bowl on patterns like this as players. On the women's tour, it's a period of transition that we're going through right now with lane patterns. With the new availability and the new technology for our lane pattern designers to use, we have to get used to our ball slowing down sooner. We have to get used to it hooking sooner. And so for Lindsey, that is the challenge in this moment.
That's fair.
And because they're just the two of them bowling on the pair, it's not breaking down very quickly. She doesn't have as much help as she did during qualifying. And we saw a bit of struggles from her in the round of 12, which is the only time that they did have, the players did have two people on a pair.
Boomershine shot 12.06 for the round of 12. She started well, 222, 192, 225, and then 182, 194, 191, but certainly enough to settle into 4th place. She was as high as 2nd place. That was in round 3. No lower than 7th at any point here this weekend. Left lane seems to be the one. And she basically just said that.
Can we only bowl on this lane?
Shine going to have a talk with our newer Storm reps, Joey K.
Yeah, unique this week. Storm had an incredibly seasoned ball rep in Rob Gottschall, and then 2 ball reps that I believe worked the entire men's tour.
Mm-hmm.
But it was awesome to see some new faces out here.
Max score for Boomershine 204. Cote maxing at 233 at the moment. First double by any player. And it felt like the first to double might win the match. There's a look at Bree's stats on the week. Again, 207 average. That strike-on-strike percentage that you talked about earlier, Sid, 53.73%. But managed certainly to get 9 most of the time first ball, which was good for 10th during the week. And obviously 9 was really darn good here in Topeka.
Yeah, that splits per game being less than 1 stands out to me also. Just having an opportunity to fill frames, leave things that you can make.
Put the foot on the gas. It's left. And a 610.
That's when you're happy not to 3-6-10. Like, okay, 3-pin falls late.
Boomershine still in this thing. Cote was shot away from really putting the foot down.
It's just about 2 boards too far to the left down lane. We have those dark board indicators, range finders down the lane. She wants to be slightly to the right of them, and that one was right on top of it.
Look out. All right. Look at Lindsay's stats on the week again, 209.92, good for 4th. You see the splits per game, a little bit different there. 19th. Still good overall, but those splits obviously starting to show up here. But at 57.25%, if she can put one more here, Sid, we've got ourselves a match. The left lane has been very good for Boomershine. It's been the right lane. Gotta have it. And 10 pin still wiggling. 210. Two splits on the right lane, Sid.
Yeah, she went high and then light.
Must make to have any kind of chance. Nicely done. You certainly never know. And based on the leaves that we have seen here this week.
It's exactly how you draw it up. Left side of the 2-pin. Doesn't need a sidewall or anything. Straight into the 10.
Made a show last year in 2024, made 3 shows in 2023. Felt really good coming into the season. A lot of good physical prep. And that work showed. Her shot, 10th frame. That went through the nose there. And now it's just going to be mere pins, even with the spare, of course. It could simply just be one for Cote to advance.
Yeah, the position that Lindsay's trying to bowl in now is so difficult, where you feel like you have to be perfect, both front to back on the lane, your ball has to hook soon enough, and laterally, left and right. Anytime you feel like you don't have margin for error, our shot quality as players goes down because we're thinking about it.
Good look at Brianna Cote, Joey K there, and Rob Gottschall. Lindsay did go to look at a different ball here on the field, always an information situation. We know it's going to strike.
That's how it always works.
Messenger in front of the 10. Boomershine 170, and mathematically this one is complete. Brianna Cote will advance, but a great start to the season for Lindsay Boomershine and show number 11 of her career. Again, talking about the physical prep portion. Would love, obviously, to bring home a title in advance of Mother's Day, which is tomorrow. Happy Mother's Day to all. And now Cote will get a look at a different piece of equipment. It was a good shot there on the right lane. Looks like maybe an ultimate wrecker. Said from what we witnessed from Bree, is it simply going to come down to ball choice at this point?
Yeah, she's trying to figure out which one gives her the most room for error. She's going to try another one. I'm not sure that something even more shiny than what she was throwing is ideal. She's going to try it. I believe this is a Typhoon next.
I tell you, this crowd is amazing. We see Verity Crawley officially 198 to 170. Verity moving to the championship pair. A couple of shots, of course, for Shayna Ong, your number 2 seed, as well as Brianna Klimmer, your number 1 seed. Coming up next, big thanks to our good friends at Kegel. Tom Anke Jr. has been here and will be here for the good majority of the PWBA season. Let's learn more about Kegel. All right, folks, first match complete. If you're just joining us, Brianna Cote defeated Lindsay Boomershine 198 to 170. And the moment that many of you have been waiting for here, Stepladder Finals, it is time for the first giveaway of the evening. And it is courtesy of Hammer. A Hammer bowling ball is coming your way to one Lucky Bowl TV viewer tonight. Big thanks to Hammer. Go ahead and the situation is this. If you're familiar with giveaways, there's a 60-second time clock early. That time clock simply tells you that a giveaway is on its way. Please get out of full screen mode if you are watching. We appreciate you watching in full screen. I too enjoy full screen, but you can't enter to win if you can't see the prompts. So get out of full screen for at least the next 2 minutes. Once you see the opportunity to simply click submit entry, that is all you have to do. Click submit entry and you will be entered to win a Hammer bowling ball here tonight. We'll have giveaways from, of course, Hammer, Storm, and Brunswick tonight. We appreciate all of the valuable USBC and PWBA Gold partners here on tour. All right, Sydney Brummett. As we watch Shayna Ong, and we'll take some mental notes in regards to where she's playing, where Brianna Clemmer are throwing bowling balls in the lane. Verity will have the pair to herself in just a moment. But thinking ahead to Verity and thinking about the possibility, of course, of urethane, she would be much further right, closer to the gutter than Brianna Cote. And it looks like maybe no one else would be out there, with the exception, maybe, of Brianna Clemmer at this point, though. But early thoughts on lane play and strategy for Verity Crawley.
I see VC probably using urethane, especially because of what I'm seeing Brianna Clemmer doing. She's sliding very far to the right. It doesn't look to me like she's trying to strike right now. It looks like she's trying to develop the lane. And so she's thrown quite a few shots sliding right of 15. That's only going to help Verity throw urethane because Bree is doing that with reactive.
Congratulations to Ulysses. You have yourself a hammer bowling ball. Congrats again. The Bowl TV marketing team will be in contact with you. So please check your emails. Give them about a week to 2 weeks before you reach out. If you don't hear from them first, then give them a shout. But congratulations. Thanks for being a subscriber. We've got 2 more opportunities for giveaways again here during our Stepladder Finals. Again, the 2025 PWBA Gold Bowling Topeka Open. It's the 10th anniversary season since the relaunch here in 2015. This center was on the schedule in 2015. The winner of that title did bowl this week. That was Liz Colkin. She did not bowl well in round number 1. Great look at the trophy. That's a really darn, that's a smooth trophy.
And I saw the owner walk out with it.
I want to bowl now.
Said, "Ooh, that one's pretty."
To get that trophy.
It matters that the trophy is pretty, by the way.
It does.
To everybody listening.
It does. Tennille Milligan always told me, shout out to Tennille, that whenever they walked into a tournament, the first thing they would do is go find the trophy, look at it, because it was about the trophy. Obviously, the money comes with it, but the trophy certainly is what you wanted that week. It means, of course, obviously, you walked out of there as the winner.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one you display.
Speaking of cash, dollar bills, y'all. First place, $20,000. A runner-up will receive $10,000. Third, $7,500. Fourth, $6,500, and fifth place, $5,500. That now belongs into the pocket of one Lindsey Boomershine. Paid 25 spots this week, and 25th got $2,485. But Liz Colkin was the previous champion here. Had a tough first round, battled back, and nearly made the top 25 in round number 2 last night. Taking a look at what we see in front of us, that one was a little bit firm, moving away from the gutter. Interesting. This is going to be an interesting scenario here, what Verity decides to do.
Yeah, she is going to try reactive here. We saw her throw this hustle quite a bit throughout the qualifying blocks. So she's no stranger to it. It's not as if, usually when we see a player make the step ladder with urethane, they've thrown it pretty much the whole time and they have a game plan to do that. But Verity is one of the most adaptable players, I think, on tour. When she sees something, she makes a change immediately. She trains so much and so intentionally that there is no question. It's just, I see this and this is what I do.
Get one more opportunity here on the right lane. And coming up next, Verity Crawley versus Brianna Cote. Combined, these two players now have amassed 45 shows since the relaunch of this tour.
So Verity has 21?
This is her 21st show.
Wow.
2 titles, 2021 Greater Nashville Open, 2023 Grand Rapids Classic. Of course, the story for Verity prior to that first win was the amount of runner-up finishes that she had accumulated. Last year she made 4 shows. Just since 2021, 15 shows since 2021. Speaking of Verity Crawley. For Cote, 17 shows since 2021. I mean, both of those players, the numbers obviously speak for themselves. They've been getting to the show. It's hard to win. Obviously, we all know that. So no surprise to see these two. Spencer asked me earlier in the week about the most consistent player since this relaunch, and I mentioned both of these two. Crawley is elected to have Cote start the match. And Bree is okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move from Verity. She's watched the right lane be tricky throughout this first match, and then when she bowled on this pair earlier today, she also felt the right lane being a bit tricky. Makes sense to want to finish on that left lane.
First shot coming up for Verity Crawley. She is going to the pitch black in the right hand. Urethane to start. And just a 2-pin there. You talked about Verity, who doesn't normally waste much time in regards to if she feels like she needs to make a change. And so we'll see, depending obviously on the results from said urethane, how long it might take her to make a move.
I don't remember if it was a conversation that I had with her last season or the season before, but there's not a ton of us that will throw a lot of urethane out here, but Verity is one of them, and sometimes I'll chat it up with her to, pick her brain about what she sees and her thought process. And she said one thing that she had struggled with was when to get out of urethane. She felt like she stayed in it too long, and so it had become a goal of hers to figure out how to know exactly when to get out of it.
I'll tell you, the results spoke for themselves. This afternoon, she dominated. Shot 13-29 with urethane in her hands here. Bang. Got away from the spots where the urethane hooked a ton early. And she's right in the zone where Brianna Cote is throwing reactive.
Yeah, she's going to use the reactive as hook. So now she has the ball track that's already developed. We're in a high lineage center, gets lots of league, lots of open play. That track is already going to provide some friction. Now she has players who are playing a little bit to the right of her or in the same zone that are creating friction. And then to her left, she'll have hold because she's using urethane.
Frame 2. Oof. And there it is. 4 through the middle, or S4 as I like to call it. If I had $1 for the amount of times and the amount of S4 or 4 through the middles that we saw this week, and I gave it away, boy, somebody would be feeling pretty darn good right now. I mean, so difficult to break down splits if you went through the nose this week. It was nearly impossible.
Yeah, it felt like they were glued.
Seen it made a few times this week. Count is good, though. So the old 4-4 on the scoreboard here early for Brianna Cote, the 2023 U.S. Women's Open champion. What a title match that was. Left a 3-6-10. Needed 2. Nearly got 1. And she wins her first major title She's got 5 total titles. Talked about the number of players that are sitting on 5 titles on tour. That number is 6. She's one of them. Heavy favorite, Verity Crawley in the fan poll. To get back on it. There it is.
Just a polite conversation there from Bree with VC, but she's just going to grab her ball. She's going to continue to fix that thumb for as long as we see her using 2 different bowling balls.
Yeah, she's been working, doing a little surgery. Our guy John Goodman, the dentist, is watching. I think he's in the building. Maybe a little surgery, John. Let us know what she needs, what tools. Crawley. Bang. Well, the first to double in our opening match with Cote and Boomershine. That was the player that won. It was Cote. An early double here, which we did not see in our opening match. Verity looks to be a little further right with Urethane on the right lane in comparison. Sid, you see the same?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a small amount. But that right lane does appear to be it. Earlier today, it hooked sooner and then less down lane. Right now, it just looks like it hooks. It's tighter overall.
Always focus on the process. Bang. Crawley, England's finest. Flower in the hair as always. Today's color is yellow. And now Bree. Hopefully got that thumb right. Last time up on the right lane, 4 through the middle. Looks like a different ball now on the right lane, potentially. Nicely done.
Yeah, she went to the same ball that she's using on the left lane. Looks to me to be a Hustle camo. Bree's always been a big fan of the Hustle line for as long as I can remember when she's been throwing Storm products. Bree tends to find lines of bowling balls that she likes and then sticks with them.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've joked multiple times actually on shows that we've done together that feature Bree that I'm surprised that the good people at Storm have not named a Hustle after Bree, although I think they kind of semi-did. There was one that has an acronym that's close to her name.
Yeah, it definitely, I think it's the Hustle BRY.
There it is. That one hustled.
She said, I'm going to give this one to my ball reps. I heard it go in the bag.
We appreciate you tuning in tonight. You could be anywhere in the world, but you have chosen to at least share a few minutes with us, and we do not take that lightly. My name is Emil Williams Jr., joined by Sydney Brummett, Chase Kaufman on the 1s and 2s, Spencer Mosier down lane side. Give you some extra shots. Curtis Von Kruger in the building. Donnie to our right, taking score, getting ready to write a fantastic story later tonight. Crawley to keep the train moving. Bang. When you throw that many strikes, let's take a look at your stats. Strike on strike percentage, 53.15%, average 211. Again, I mentioned some very, very big blocks, but you see the strikes per game. #1 on the list, 6.21, and that says a lot. She had blocks of 1352 and 1329. 1352 in round 2, that got her to 5th. She went from 27th to 5th in one round. And then, of course, this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, during the round of 12, with urethane in hand, shot 1329 to settle in at plus 266 to go from 8th to 3rd. For 5 in a row. Bang.
If you're wondering why Verity has so many water bottles, she drinks electrolytes in one, water in the other. Been focusing a lot on her nutrition over the last few months.
Fitness, a big part of the Crawley regimen. Same thing for Cote. All right, good break there. 7-pin out of the way. Again for the Tucson native. Husband Randy. All with Bree, handling the EFX brand. Proud product registered partner here at the PWBA. See that hit? Deflect. That thing, the 7-pin does go. I tell you, Sid, I go back to, it's been years at this point when Bree decided to drop to 14 pounds. And I really feel, if you look at the stats and the number of shows since that time, it had to be, I think was it pre-COVID? That year, I think, well, maybe 18 or 19. And you can just see the needle moving up.
Yeah, we were roommates at the time when that was all going on, and I was throwing 14 pounds and was thinking about going to 15, and she was in 15 and thinking about going to 14, and the number of conversations just in our room about which one is better, what should I do, which is right for me, and the number of conversations with our tour reps was wild. To say the least. We had a lot of them, and so I love that she stuck to who she is and went back to 14, because I believe when she won her first title, she was throwing 14 and then made the switch to 15. And so getting back to her roots, getting back to who she is as a player has been wonderful for her. However, when you are in 14 pounds, what's interesting is the numbers on the bowling balls, the core numbers, can be quite different than 15 pounds. So you can't always compare what you should be doing to what your competitors are doing.
And Crawley, train stops momentarily here. 7th frame. Certainly choppable here. 3-6-9.
Yeah, that one hooks early. The spare is already a difficult one, and now you're going to add into the mix that, VC's throwing urethane. Makes it even more difficult, because if you move far enough left, you start to question, you start to wonder, am I going to get the 9 out?
She'll stay in urethane. And leaves the 9, takes the 3-6. And look out. Next score now for Verity Crawley, 255.
What is it about bowling that captivates us so much?
Small door opening for Brianna Cote. But Verity, no panic in her game. 8th frame. Right on target.
Yeah, it might just be time for Verity to make the same move that she has on the left lane to the right. It is important to play the 2 lanes independently. It might just be that the right one is finally catching up to the left.
We talked about the number of shows for Bree, but her last title actually was the U.S. Women's Open. Her last standard event title was the 2022 Dallas Classic at USA Bowl in Dallas, Texas. Lane level. Oh! Cote. Big double.
Yeah, that was huge, especially on the right lane. It gives, not even just because it gives her that double, but now she has the confidence in the 10th frame to know if I execute how I'm supposed to, I have an opportunity to strike.
Good shot. High above. Certainly one of the best of this game. This one will force Verity to put in work here in the 9th and 10th. Must have. Oh, 9 pin. Get out of the way.
Yeah, oftentimes we didn't see those carry this week. They usually stood. It's a great break there for Bree. That ball hooked slightly early. I was kind of cringing in my seat. It was just a tad bit earlier than the last few shots she had thrown on that lane, and fortunate to get the 9 pin out there.
And now the right lane, which caused some trouble. Chopped at 3.69 last time she was up here. She could relinquish the lead if she does not strike here. 9th frame. Bucket.
The hardest part about urethane is you go high, you make the move. Is my ball going to shape the correct way down lane? And so oftentimes, I'll never forget the first tournament that Hope Gramley really started to throw urethane was the Queens last year. And she said, you know, thank goodness I had Alec, her now fiance, there with her to say, hey, I know you want to move left, but it's really move right and throw it faster. Because the moves with urethane are just different.
That's good advice for everybody. Right
No doubt.
there. Chase Coffin, our producer, he throws urethane a lot. He nodded his head. Crawley, nicely done there. Well, you're talking about wiping the sweat off the brow. Unfortunately, though, with that non-strike, Cote with the lead. And no matter what Crawley does, Bree will have an opportunity to step up and win this match. Two here in the 10th would be very, very big for Crawley. She's loved this lane. Oh, wow. Perhaps a 10.
That one's heartbreaking as a player. You execute perfectly, and the 6 just viciously wraps around the 10. There's nothing you really could have done differently. I always jokingly say I would rather flat 10 than wrap 10 because like, at least I could have done something about it.
Obviously important spare here. Spare strike would get Crawley to 204. Or excuse me, 224. 9 spare strike would be 224. So first one in the 10th is a must. Big fill shot coming up here. You got to put it right. Same spot. What a match. All right. Did what she had to do on the fill. There are 2 scenarios here. A, the winning scenario, a strike on the first shot in the 10th, and Cote will advance to face Shayna Ong of Singapore. 9 spare strike would be a tie. Anything less than 9 on this first shot, and Crawley's going to advance. The squeak. Wraps a 10. This one is not over. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your, well, I can't say it, it's Pulp Fiction. What a shot. What'd you think, Sid?
It's heartbreaking. I mean, you know, VC steps up, she makes the shot that she needs, she wrapped 10. Almost poetically, Bree does the same thing on the right lane. Reptins.
The first things first, got to make it. That part is complete. It is simple. A strike, and we're going to a one-ball sudden death roll-off to determine a winner of this match. In that scenario, a higher seed would have choice on who starts and what lane. Anything less than a strike, and Verity Crawley will advance to face Shayna Ong. For the tie. Bang! And we're going to the roll-off. Sudden death time. And you see that exhale.
What's the first event without a little sizzle? Per our PWBA rules, when a match ends in a tie, it is a sudden death roll-off. The higher seeded player, which is Verity, will have choice of the starting lane and order. Should the match still be tied after one ball, the players will switch lanes, continuing in the same order and repeat the process until the tie is broken.
Again, higher seed has choice.
Looks like Verity's going to get us started.
Verity is going to start on the left lane, which is a good choice in regards to lane.
Very smart. Very smart.
Who doesn't like bonus bowling? What a way to start the season. Verity, who ran the ladder, finishing second last year in the opening event, now in a roll-off situation here versus Brianna Cote in the second match here in the step ladder finals. Oh my. 6. Bucket. Wow. There is nothing easy in this sport. So you cannot allow that mind to relax.
No.
If you're Brianna Cote, that one looked like it just got a little bit right down lane.
Yeah, it felt fast to me when she threw it.
Need 7. She's moving on. Brianna Cote defeats Verity Crawley in the one-ball sudden death roll-off, 10-6. And for Verity, in the 21st show, well, you cannot say she did not bowl well. She had the opportunity, but Cote, again, just like earlier today and all weekend, when she is pressed, she delivers. One more look at the winning shot. She knew it.
It was perfectly executed by Bree.
You'll see Brianna Clemmer and Shayna Ung, of course, well, Clemmer specifically, hit her shots first. When we return, we'll watch a little bit of practice. We'll hear a word from Storm first, and then our second bowling ball giveaway, courtesy of Storm.
What is it about bowling that captivates us so much? Mastery of the game is impossible, but perfection is just within reach. Success seems to lie 60 feet ahead, but the real battle takes place 6 inches between your ears. So if no matter how many times you fail, you would still do anything, and I mean anything, just to get 1% better. We know exactly how you feel.
All right, good people. It is time for the second bowling ball giveaway of the day. It is courtesy of Storm. All right, so I know there were some questions about giveaways tonight, right? And so here we go. I'm going to go slower this time. All right, so here's the deal. The giveaway is about to happen, okay? Get out of full screen mode. That's first and foremost. If you're watching in full screen, you will not see the lower third prompts, okay? First things first. So get out of full screen. Then you'll see a 60-second countdown. All right, a 60-second countdown that will tell you that a giveaway is about to begin. All right. Once that 60 seconds is complete, another 45-second countdown will begin, and this is where you can then enter. And right where it says 45 seconds, you'll see that clock running. It will say submit entry. All you have to do is click submit entry. Hit that mouse, click it one time, and you're in. All right, here we go. All right, good people. So, again, the countdown is underway. You do not want to miss out on this giveaway opportunity. While we wait for the winner, Shayna Ung getting her practice shots in. And now, so there's been urethane on this pair, Sid. Brianna Clemmer came over and threw a few shots with a purple hammer just to see what it might look like, I think, as well. So the play for Shayna Ung in this situation, assuming she's not going to use urethane, and why would she? Because she told us the rock star has truly been a rock star for her this week. What are we anticipating now after watching two matches unfold? And of course, we know this pair has developed to a point to where it could be tricky for both players, even including Brianna Cote.
Yeah, the idea for Shayna is avoid the mess. That's kind of what happens when we bowl on this pattern enough and you have a bunch of different styles, so that is what has happened. But she appears to be throwing shots in the same zone as Bree. She'll probably just be able to throw a little bit more aggressive bowling ball because her hand is so forward that it won't create a big change of direction down lane. So she'll have a bigger blueprint, essentially, to throw down the lane, and it may give her a bit more margin for error, although we are seeing Bree start to get comfortable on the pair, and I think that says a lot, considering how difficult they were throughout the week.
Congratulations to Sally. You have got yourself a Storm bowling ball choice. Thank you, Sally, for being a Bowl TV subscriber, and thank you to Storm for providing all these cool giveaways. Of course, thank you to Hammer as well as Brunswick. As we welcome you inside the booth here, Emil Williams Jr. alongside Sydney Brummett. Sid, I can honestly say it was the first roll-off I got a chance to be a part of during the Stepladder Finals here on Bowl TV. There's no better place to be right now than Topeka Lanes and Westridge Lanes in Topeka, Kansas. Shayna Ung versus Brianna Cote. Our opening matches were just as good. Brianna Clemmer waiting in the wings as the top seed. You just talked about what we anticipate lane play, but from the Cote aspect, to kind of stay away from the mess as well, she seems to be getting better as these matches roll on. Do we continue to see that? Yeah, there's no doubt. The more time that Bree gets to be comfortable, the more that she shines. We see that even just throughout the duration of an event. It's why she wins the U.S. Open. As the event goes on, she gets better, the picture gets more clear for her, and she gets confidence from that. In case we don't get a chance to talk about it on camera, but we will, of course, when Brianna Clemmer gets set to take to the lanes. Early thoughts on lane play, considering or assuming what we assume Shayna Ung will be. Still forward, still probably throwing reactive. In the same or similar zone that she has been in throughout the week. Yeah, we'll see Bree get into the strategy that she used somewhere around games 3 and 4, which was to go to that hypnotize, I believe, with a little bit of surface. I saw her throw her purple to the right, and her eyes got real wide when she saw how early it hooked, so I think we're going to avoid that one. All right, it's time for the semifinal match We'll take you back to the lanes here as Shayna Ong of Singapore, the number 2 seed, gets set to take on Brianna Cote, who is in the midst of running the ladder, our number 5 seed tonight. Cote gets us started. Well, we had gone an entire broadcast, entire stepladder finals without seeing a 4-9. I know Spencer's down there with his camera, and he's shaking his head right now. I can see it. We had a counter this weekend, and we forgot to kind of keep track, but we just stopped because it was getting to be a little bit ridiculous. There was a ton of 4-9s through a couple of rounds here. Talking about breaking momentum.
Now I feel fortunate that I didn't leave one throughout the entire weekend. Maybe I should have, though. Maybe it was a premonition that you were bowling well. You know?
Well, if you're going to leave it, that's the best frame to do it. And now we get a chance to see, for the first time here this season, in the stepladder finals appearance, Shayna Ong, 35 years of age, from Singapore. Bowled 8 events last year. And if you know, of course, about Team Singapore, certainly if you don't, the team as a squad generally rolls 6-7 deep. They have come over to the United States to bowl every year since 2016. First shot of beauty for Shayna Ong. Boy, that was a no-doubter right there. And I like to say, I've been saying it this week, a tone setter. And that would immediately let me know, like, okay, my opponent is about business. Looks like 2 different rock stars as well, Sid. She went to move the interchangeable thumb from one rock star to the second, one on each lane to this point. Wow. Stone 9. The 2 really good and powerful strikes, or excuse me, shots to start this semifinal match from Shayna Ong. Sid, you talked about Shayna a little bit earlier during the round of 12. You talked about when you first came out on tour, she won the 2018 Las Vegas Open, so you have some memories of that. But what stands out, what makes Shayna Ong such a good to great player, realistically, and not just great, obviously, when she comes over to the United States, but great everywhere around the world?
Yeah, with women's bowling at a high level, our rev rates, they don't change that much. You know, the range of our rev rates is pretty low. And so we tend to stay in zones that are similar to one another. And so when you have more forward ball roll, but still a high rev rate, it allows you to stay in the zone that the women are creating. And it allows you to have more predictable and a more powerful bowling ball going through the pins. And so Shayna does that at such a high level. Her shot repetition is incredible.
Cote looking to rebound early, and now she is in that the zone you don't want to be in, at least for the first 2 frames. 2, 4, 5. Boy, it looked like Bree had all of the momentum, throwing great shots, and obviously the winner in the roll-off versus Verity. And now 4-9 and a 2-4-5.
Yeah, we would see on this pattern the last 2 days, you're playing to the right, things are going awesome. All of a sudden your ball goes high, you make a small move, and you feel like your ball never wants to hook down lane.
Spare converted. First time on the left lane, 4-9. Maybe an adjustment. Looks like it. Bang.
I think Shayna knew it too, right? Shayna walks, she's like off her hand. She's
Right
like,
up
yeah,
to
I
get her
know.
ball off the rack.
She's like, got it, you got 10. My turn.
Poll on your screen. Who will win this match, Shayna Ung or Brianna Cote? Joey K, Rob Gaccio. That's Wesley Lowe behind Joey K and Rob.
So fun to see Wesley Lowe a part of elite bowling.
Shayna, another one. Well, she looks to be about business. And she's had that look throughout the week. 211.21 on the average.
Shayna has this like sense of urgency that is palpable, right? And I'm not sure what it is the third frame, and I felt like she just bowled the 10th frame.
No, it's pretty clear. And you look at the stats, of course, first ball average 9.17. Strike on strike percentage 55.73. But that last frame average, what does that tell you there? 19.71.
We weren't doubling a lot in the 10th, but how impressive to lead the tournament for 3 out of 4 rounds and be 39th in 10th frames.
Well, I tell you what, she keeps throwing them like that. It's not going to matter in the 10th frame because the thing's going to be over.
Yeah, it lends to the urgency point of, the first 9 frames matter just as much as the 10th frame, and maybe as players we overvalue the 10th frame. I don't know how many times I hear players say, oh, I can't double in the 10th, I can't double in the 10th. Well, to Shayna's point right now, via her stats, is you wouldn't have to double in the 10th all the time if you treated the first 9 with just as much importance.
Cote, got to get up the hill. Oh, my. Roll the 2-8, why don't you? When's the last time we saw someone roll a 2-8? Have you ever rolled a 2-8, Sid?
No. More likely to trip a 4 than roll a 2.
Donnie G, our PWBA PR manager, politely raised his hand to let us know that he has rolled a 2-8 in his lifetime. Well, as Jim Callahan would say, can she parlay it? Can she turn 2 into 3? Bang. Shayna Ung, her last PWBA title came at the 2019 Sonoma County Open. This is her 7th career championship round appearance. And her previous 6, of course, 2 out of 6 ain't bad, especially in the limited number of events that they tend to bowl every year. Maybe, maybe. Oh, my. 7-10, slap it out.
I love this for them. We have a roll 2-8. The messenger connects on the 7-10. I think Westridge Lanes was just saving it all for this match. And I love it.
And that's okay. I mean, obviously, we love that. Last year, Shayna made the show at the Rockford Open, which is sponsored by Bowler Schernel. Finished 5th. You think about winning and at the clip that Team Singapore wins at. And I'll tell you more. Carry it. At the clip that they win, Sid, I think it's just more of a personal thing that Shayna looked at this and said, hey, I haven't won since 2019. I know I'm damn good to get this thing done. Let's go out and win, especially after leading, as we just talked about, for 3 out of the 4 rounds and really almost 90% of the tournament, because Brianna Klimmer grabbed the top seed with 2 games left. Shayna Ong, 64% of the fan vote in the poll. Cote, and a 4-pin. And that one feels like one she had to have based on the start, of course, for Shayna.
Yeah, it's like when you bowl any of the players from Singapore, each shot that you have where the picture is clear and you know you throw it the way that you want to, you feel like I need to strike on this shot, because what if I don't see it clearly in a few frames, especially with how hard this pattern has been and how quick the transition has been, because you know that they spend most of their time training. And so they're sharp, and when it's available to them to make a good shot and have an opportunity to strike, most of the time it's going to happen. You know, my mind goes immediately to the last few years with Sherry Tan. There's no question that when she makes the step ladder finals, if she has an opportunity to step up and strike, more than likely she does. And right now it feels that way with Shayna as well.
Of course, Team Singapore is here, Coach Jason. But right now, Brianna Cote for the 4-pin conversion, early 4-9. And near trouble. 4-7, you saw Shayna getting prepared. She was up there already, so she just went ahead and made the switch on the interchangeable thumbs to the ball that, or the layout, I should say, that's on the right lane in between those two rock stars. That's your Shayna Bowl 8 events, as mentioned, cashed in 6. A couple of match play appearances. Again, the one show in Rockford, finishing in 5th. And the year before that, Singapore only bowled 5 events, and Shayna only cashed once, which is very uncharacteristic. Needed that one to lay off. It was left 3, 6, 9, 10.
She knew it immediately. It's one of my favorite things about the players from Singapore is how the result that they get on a shot plays zero mind into whether or not they knew if it was good execution or bad execution, and so their moves feel like they're precise. Because if you throw it bad and you still get a good result and you don't do anything about it, you could have a bad result the next frame even if you throw it good. Choosing to go straight at that is bold.
Wow.
I know one other human who goes straight at that. His name is John Janowitz, so maybe there's something to it.
Hey, he's pretty good.
He's okay. Hope he's bowling great.
Yeah, good segue there, programming note. PBA 50 all week at the Villages on Bowl TV. Shout out to the crew there. Hung now getting deep into this ball game. 8th frame, max score 256. It's only 1 pin advantage. Oh, you bet.
It feels to me, and I haven't watched her bowl all week, so I'm not for sure, but it feels to me like there's a little bit of intentional loft on that left lane. She's going to try and get that ball to save energy as it's going down the lane.
There's that loft, as you mentioned, Sid, and the result speaks for itself. Very determined, as we talked about. Cote trying to hang around here. That one read extremely early and lucky to only leave the 4-pin.
Now, this is what started to happen throughout the week. You felt, she has this 3-bagger. You're like, okay, I know what's going on. I see it properly. And then all of a sudden you ace one and your bully ball hooks early and you're like, wait, apparently I don't know what's going on. I need to make a move. I need to make an adjustment. And what gets tricky, and the players who found themselves here in this top 5, is they know what that move is for them. Because it's more than likely not your traditional 2-1, 3-2, 4-2. It's probably not that. It's probably a ball change, a zone change, a speed change, a hand change. Like, it's a combination of things. It's not simple because of those Tetris blocks that we have down the lane.
Back score now 224 for Cote, who wasn't sure if she was going to be able to bowl this season. She had major eye surgery in both eyes. And that was just a couple of months ago. Ninth frame, high flush. Cote, who started round 1 in 20th, jumped to 4th after a 13:42 block. Dipped to 11th in round 3 this morning and did just enough, but came through when it mattered. She was 7th with 1 game to go in the round of 12. And of course, ran down Jane Sin for the 5th and final spot on tonight's show. Meanwhile, Shayna Ong, first, second. Her round finishes. That's right. Ooh, you talking about a break.
That feels like a gift.
We know how good Cote is in capitalizing on others' mistakes. I'm just leaning to the right, where others have left buckets in those scenarios, or 2 4-10s or 2 8s, 2 8-10s.
Yeah, leaving a single pin. I know I can make this one. Chooses to go straight at it. 9 spare on the board for Shayna going into this 10th frame.
Shutout situation here for Shayna Ong. Nine spare strike. And more strike and 9. Strike 9 out would also be a winner. The loft. And the carry. But that one was interesting. Brianna Klemmer waiting in the wings. Oof. Wow.
Her reaction was about the same as ours. I think I saw her motion to her reps. She's going to try the rock star that she was throwing on the right lane on this left one now.
At least 9 to advance to the title match. You bet. I thought the 8 pin was going to stand. Maybe that was the 7 pin for a moment. Great bowling by Brianna Cote. She will fast track. 9 pins have been prevalent. I saw a mean near 7-9 as well today. Great bowling. Great start to the season as well for Brianna Cote. Shayna Ong advancing to the title match. .226 to 192. Klemmer versus Ong. 1 versus 2. That is coming up next. And for the final time tonight, ladies and gentlemen, our Our bowling or final bowling ball giveaway is coming up next. But first, a word from Lane Talk.
I wonder if I bowl better on the shark pattern or the cheetah pattern. What if you could compare anything? Like when I play on lane 5 or 6, before and after a mid-game snack, wearing boxers, briefs, or nothing.
Analyze any factor of your game with our new comparison tool.
Anyone know what historic 3-game record she set? Anybody know what number that
I'm
is?
hearing a trivia question provided by Robin Graves, and someone got the answer immediately. Oh, Brianna Klimmer has an autographed bowling ball. Some lucky fan in the crowd has got themselves an autographed piece of equipment from Brianna Klimmer. I'll tell you the question in 1 second. But first things first, let's get to this bowling ball giveaway. It is brought to you in part by Brunswick, the leader in bowling balls, shoes, equipment, and apparel. Find out the latest products, promotions, and news from Brunswick and shop online at brunswickbowling.com or through your local pro shop today. All right, get on out of full screen. If you're watching in full screen mode, please exit full screen mode. Simply follow and look for the lower third prompts. The first one will be a 60-second countdown. The second will be a 45-second countdown. That one will have a submit entry option. That is the way to enter the giveaway. Once you see submit entry, all you have to do is click that button and you will have an opportunity to win a Brunswick bowling ball. All right, here we go. It's out. With that said, Sydney Brummett, it is championship match time. And Brianna Klimmer now on the lanes. Each time she has come over to get a couple of shots, we've seen a ton of early hook. That's anticipated. But now it is her time to figure out what the best strategy is going to be against somebody who looks to be pretty darn locked in into what's happening in Shayna Ung. What's Brianna Klimmer got to do here? Where does she have to play, or where should she play, in your opinion, based on that?
Yeah, Brie could have the advantage here if she's a bit less left of Shayna. However, it looks like her and her ball rep, Jason Wojner, are trying to just find the ball that allows her to stay in that same zone, but gets through the front part of the lane properly. She's trying stuff that's a bit cleaner. What I don't love about that is when there's this much early friction and you use a responsive bowling ball, that bowling ball does not care where the friction is. So if the friction's in the front part of the lane and it responds quickly to it, it's going to respond early and quickly. And so I would rather see her use something a bit slower and dial back her hand if that's the zone she wants to stay in, or use her rev rate to her advantage and move a bit further left.
Just a couple more seconds before our bowling ball winner is determined. The conversation continues between Klimmer and Wojner. Hope y'all have gotten out of full screen. Sherry says she's in. Thomas has won a Brunswick bowling ball. Congratulations, Thomas. For all three of our winners, by the way, Ulysses, Sally, and Thomas, the Bowl TV marketing team will be reaching out to you. Give them about 2 to 3 weeks. They're busy. They just came back from the USBC convention. There's a lot happening. So give them about 2 to 3 weeks to make contact. They will send you an email. If after 3 weeks you do not hear from them, then of course you can reach out at bowltv@bowl.com and they will get you squared away. More fan favorite and viewer friendly items coming up next. Congratulations to the Bowl TV viewer of the day. And that is Josh Kirby. Oh, look at Josh. Okay. Straight repping Jacksonville State. His favorite bowler is Shannon O'Keefe. He is from Jacksonville, Alabama. Favorite activities and hobbies include fishing and golf. And if he had won $1 million, he would buy his old center that closed in 2018. I appreciate that last part very much. Congratulations, Josh. And if you would like to enter the Bowl TV Viewer of the Day, all you have to do is click the fourth tab from the right of the chat and click on Bowl TV Viewer of the Day. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, top seed, Brianna Klimmer. Second seed, Shayna Ung, the battle. 10th anniversary season since the relaunch of the PWBA Tour in 2015. And we are set to crown the first champion here this season. Emil Williams Jr., Sidney Brummett, Chase Kaufman on the 1s and 2s, Spencer Mosier down lane, lane side, camera range. Shayna Ung to start. High flush. There's a fan poll on your screen. Who will win, Klimmer or Ung? We are fresh out of giveaways. Again, congratulations to Ulysses, Sally, and Thomas, winner of Storm, Brunswick, and Hammer bowling balls, respectively. First shot from the top seed. Klimmer. Good shot, 10-pin. That one much different than some of the shots we just watched Sid in practice. I felt like she was had that mentality of, I'm going to give this one a little gas to kind of get through some of that early hook.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's a strength that she has. Both her rev rate and her ball speed help her in instances where the bowling ball wants to hook early. You know, when she won in St. Pete Clearwater, it was something that all the women were fighting. So no surprise that she bowled well here this week.
Brianna Klimmer. Two-time champion here on the PWBA Tour. A trivia question, by the way, that Robin referenced in between the matches. Klimmer won her first title at the 2022 St. Petersburg Clearwater Open. She was chasing down a 3-game scoring record in the process, and someone immediately knew exactly what that answer was about. Hook. And a 2-pin. Second win for Klimmer came last year at the Jonesboro Trios. That was the first of its kind, featuring PBA, PBA 50, and PWBA players. On that squad with Klimmer, Tom Hess, and Francois Lavoie. Couple of single pins here to start for Klimmer. And she will take care. Good conversation. Ball rep there is Jason Wojner. He's from the Chicagoland area.
Little information here from Rob Gottschall, rep from Storm Products for Shayna. The right lane, Shayna's throwing a 5-inch pin to pap Rockstar. The left lane is a 4-inch pin to pap with a little bit more shine. The 5-inch one, the one she's throwing on the right lane, was drilled specifically for the stepladder finals.
Why the fresh one? Specifically for the finals, you think?
Yeah, the 5-inch one is going to get a bit further down the lane. 4-inch one is going to want to hook sooner and be a bit smoother. So anytime she feels like a lane is hooking early, it may be beneficial to be in the one that has the longer pin to pap distance. That right lane has traditionally hooked earlier, as we've seen in the round of 12 and again here today in the stepladder finals.
For an early 3-bagger. Bang! She has gotten out in front now in both matches. Speaking of Shayna Ung. Bree Klim joined the tour in 2021 from Clover, South Carolina, 27 years of age. Peel. There it is.
You know, we're only in frame 3, but it feels the same as the match with Brie Cote and Shayna. It feels like this third frame is already so important with just how much momentum Shayna has, as well as how clear the picture is for her on both lanes. It felt like Brie needed that one, like it was very important.
We talked about how consistent Shayna Ung has been, being first, second. Those are their finishes after each round. Klemmer, second, third, first. Double. Carry.
And Brie is choosing to throw a stealth mode. From brand to brand, stealth mode, Rockstar, both are solid, symmetrical, big core bowling balls. Both of the women choosing pieces just within the same realm of one another. Of course, there are differences company to company, but similar blueprint of bowling ball.
4-inch and 5-inch pins, Rockstars, correct?
Correct, and the 4-inch one has a bit more shine to it. 5-inch on the right lane, 4 on the left.
For 4 in a row. Bang. Shayna Ung, determined. Started strike 9 spare 4-bagger against Brianna Cote in the previous match. So the first 5 out of 6. She's got the front 4 here. Can she make it 5? Maybe. Oh! Front 5 any way you have it.
Okay, Westridge
Shayna
Lanes. I see you. It's kind of fun, right? Don't really know how the pins are going to fall down. Feels like a surprise.
Surprises that we did not see a lot of until our stepladder finals. Watch this pin action. That looked like maybe, what, a 3?
It was the 5-pin. The 5-pin fell to the right.
She had some interesting leaves on that left lane. Now back to Klemmer. Trying to answer, and she gets a break. We'll take that fist pump. Brie Klem, 211.67, of course, to lead. Strike per game, 6.17. Strike on strike percentage, 54.41. But these stats pretty darn good across the board here, Sid.
Yeah, I'm looking at them and I'm thinking that's probably the most consistent overall. We've seen somebody be every single stat in the top 10.
Oh, we got ourselves a situation, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you heard her say lay, which means she wants the ball to push, hold.
Pre-match poll, Shayna Ung, 54%. The winner, Mike McBride, the GM, just to the left of Brianna Klemmer. Six frame. Front 6.
I was a bit nervous about that one because her hand looked so aggressive at the bottom. And it still laid off. It did exactly the right thing. That's when you know you have good ball motion, when your hand doesn't have to be perfect. Great shot there from Shayna. She'll go to the left lane. Go back to the 4-inch pin, Rockstar. Again, the one on the right lane drilled specifically for the show. You have to be so dialed into what's going on these lanes to know exactly what to do for the show between her and the team. of her ball reps. They got this one right, that's for sure.
4-7 in a row. 4-pin. Good shots. Nice round of applause from the crowd. Our tournament sponsored by Go Bowling. There was a $10,000 bonus for a perfect game on the line. I'm going to move on to our next step ladder finals. By the way, next week starts the first major of the season. The USBC Queens gets underway on Wednesday. Practice sessions, and then later that evening, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Look out. Wow.
That was cute, Shayna. Shayna's doing tricks. It's cool. That was nice.
Well.
Why would you want to, when you perfectly ace a spare, I'm like, oh, they double tap that spare. Why would you want to do that when you can make it more fun? She's just telling Bree, like, hey, if I leave the 410, like, I'm just letting you know, I could make it.
Now back to Klimmer. Top seed. 7th frame. Through the nose. All right, single pin. Much better in that situation. That one kind of sliced right through the heart, Sid.
Yeah, it's just, once again, that right lane, rearing its ugly head, wants to hook early. But then what's hard is we saw in her final practice shots, bowling ball hooked early, bowling ball hooked early. She makes the move to the left. Bowling ball never hooks. And that's when you have to make a decision. Am I going to be okay with my ball hooking early and stay in that zone and just throw it faster or use a different tool? Or am I going to make the move to the left and get on the other side of those strips? If that's what I'm going to do, I'm a lone wolf here because nobody else has done that yet. And so you're pretty unclear about what that part of the lane is like at this moment in time.
Shayna Ung. 21 pin advantage at the moment. Klimmer. Max score at the moment, 258. This feels like a must strike. Read it. It does not. 2 pin does fall. 8 pin. And at this point here, Shayna Ung inching closer. Bringing home another title, not only for herself, but Team Singapore. 2 players, each with 2 titles. Ung looking to get to 3. Possibly in the next couple of frames. Well, this one feels like the next time Bree Klim might step on the lanes, it could be all but decided.
It feels that way, doesn't it? And the lead is 21. Guys, I never said I was good at math. That's why I got good people around me who are, right?
Hold on. Well, that right lane, it's been the lane, as you just said, but the last couple on that lane for Shayna have been questionable as they get down lane. She's been dodging what has certainly would be the major split scenario here.
Yeah, and that 5-inch pin compared to the 4 that she's throwing should give her a bit more ball motion down lane. And when a ball hooks early, it also does not hook down lane, and so it should help her with that. I think B. Klim was very smart by having Shayna finish this match on the right lane.
Spare is made. Right now, Shayna Ung. .240 pace right now. Great Clem, max score 247. Shayna will take a moment. Looks like she came back to refer to maybe her notes. She has been writing down notes after each shot every time she sits down. The banner in the background, Ong in the foreground. It's on the lane. Oh, my goodness. That was nearly, what, a 4.710?
A pocket 4.710, mind you.
Oh, my. Well, you talking about dodging one. That was near disaster. She on the left lane, right? Shayna's had some strange hits that have carried or at least broken down trouble. That right there in itself could be the moment of the match.
Mm-hmm. And what breaks up all those splits for her is that forward ball roll that she has. That's such an advantage for her.
Look out. Look out. And Brianna Klimmer. The door is wide open. She can strike out in the 9th and 10th frames to shut out Shayna Ong. Grandma Barbara, Grandpa Jim, Heather, Jack, her brother Brandon, sister Brittany, all watching. The moment is here. Gotta have it in the 9th. 2-8.
You saw her say it. She said, good shot. It's very true. There were so many times in the last 2 days where you would throw it exactly how you wanted to. You know, to Verity's point, like you said during her match, she's so process-oriented. It's probably why she found herself in the stepladder finals here today, is because you had to be. Because if you were obsessed with the outcome, you were probably frustrated right away. Because you could throw it great and your ball didn't do what you expected.
Talked about 2-8s being tough. Oh my, and she missed them all. And you can tell she was expecting certainly that one to hook. And with that said, Glimmer max score 223. Shayna would just need 8 pins on 2 shots. Unexpected, both 9th frames. Shayna Ong missing the 10 pin after dodging what was going to be just a horrific split. Klimmer then misses all of the 2-8. And back-to-back 2-8s. Shayna Ong at this point, she knows it, looking at the score, spectators looking at the score. Shayna Ong has won the PWBA Go Bowling Topeka Open. And what was maybe one of the more interesting finishes we have seen in quite some time. Shayna Ong. It doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you get it done. Shayna Ong is a champion for the 3rd time on the PWBA Tour.
Woo, she didn't even see that beautiful messenger connect.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We will have brief words with Shayna Ong and Robin. We will also have Shayna in the booth. 236 to 202. still a level of
On behalf of Western
disbelief
Plains,
on what
Topeka,
we just
great
watched.
bowling.
Shout out to Mike McBride. Great job.
Shayna, congratulations. First title of the season. How does it feel? Title number 3 for you.
Yeah, it's been 6 years, I think, since my last title. So I'm happy I got this back again. Thank you for all your support. Thank you.
So you come over every year with Team Singapore, obviously a long trip. Clearly jet lag was not an issue because you got out to a hot start. You led for most of the tournament. You got the win here. What do you attribute to your success tonight?
Of course, I think there were a lot of preparation done prior to this trip. And even when we got here, I would like to thank the Storm reps for coming in early to prep some balls for us, and thank you to Turbo Grips and of course Team Singapore as well. Yeah, I think I'm speechless, but yeah, I mean, it's been a day. You're right, like what you said, I lost the lead. I was leading for most of the time and I lost it in the third last game, and it got to me, and I think more than anything else I wanted to win it back. Thank you.
Our 2025 PWBA Go Bowling Topeka Open champion, Ms. Shayna Ung. West Ridge Lanes, it has been a pleasure. Thank you all for coming out. We've had an amazing, amazing week of bowling. The best women bowlers in the world showed their stuff this week. We appreciate you all. Our next event is the USBC Queen starting next week. Make sure that you follow the action all along on Bowl TV. Thank you for coming out. We hope you have a great evening. Safe travels, and we'll see you guys next week at Queens and the PWBA Hall of Fame.
And Sid, before I was right as Robin was beginning to talk, I was saying it felt like even the fans in the building are still in a little bit of disbelief about what they just watched. Very interesting, obviously. Shayna fully opens the door for Rihanna Clemmer to go ahead and literally win the match. She strikes, of course, in the 9th and the 10th frame. Leaves it 2-8, match not over at that point, and then misses the 2-8 completely, which obviously even surprised her. I'm sure she was expecting that thing to hook. I think I was too. I think you were too. But it's been a point of emphasis with that spare. You talked about it, and it reared its ugly head at the worst possible moment.
Yeah, no doubt. It's those Tetris blocks at the end of the pattern. They make them really hard. You make the move you think you're supposed to make, and it ultimately puts you in a new zone of the lane that's you're a bit unaware of, and it's a poor outcome for Bree. I hope she can lean on the idea that she did throw it great when she needed to, and she just made the wrong move. She didn't throw it bad. She wasn't bad in that moment. It was just bad strategy in that moment, and that's going to happen every once in a while. She's still so young in her career out here on tour. She's, already won. She's won 2 titles, 1 trios title, 1 singles title at the St. Pete Clearwater Open. And there are going to be many more to come. She's going to keep putting herself in that position.
We will have Shayna Ung here for a brief moment. Obviously, a lot of photos to take, certainly. And want to thank, while we have the moment, they're all right there from left to right. General Manager Mike McBride, Jesse James, co-proprietor, of course, your champion Shayna Ung, and co-proprietor Jerry Kessler. This final month of May will be Jerry's kind of last hurrah here within the bowling industry, or at least in the regard of running bowling centers as a proprietor. And he was instrumental in bringing the tour back to Topeka, Kansas. Of course, we mentioned it was part of the inaugural schedule in the relaunch year back in 2015. And I tell you, they didn't disappoint. The staff was great. It was truly, for me, first time being here, first time being in Topeka, and I certainly would come back. The fans were great. They packed this place tonight. It was a very, very TV-like atmosphere. And listen, I know we're Bold TV, obviously, but we do great things on CBS Sports Network, of course, as Sydney Brummett can attest. But credit to our crew, the tournament staff, and everyone here at Westridge Lanes for truly making this feel like a TV experience for the spectators involved as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It was actually, for me, it was a very professionally ran. I know we're the PWBA, but our host dictates a lot of the feeling that we have throughout the week. And just as a player, I was very much treated like a professional throughout the entire week. They had even just the small things, and I know it feels really small when we talk about it here in the booth, but even just the healthy snacks that they had for us in the paddock, a very designated players area to do our bowling ball work, our paddock to just have a moment to ourselves. That place was incredible, and I'm so thankful to Westridge Lanes. It was nice to come back to Kansas, especially Topeka, knowing that, the relaunch of the tour in 2015 hosted the PWBA.
While we wait, just to recap quickly here of your matches. In the opening match, Brianna Cote defeated Lindsay Boomershaw 198 to 170. Cote advanced to face Verity Crawley. Those two tied at 224. And then won a one-ball roll-off, 10-6. Then Brianna Cote advanced to face Shayna Ung. And it was 5 out of the first 6 for Shayna, 226 to 192. And then, of course, as you watched just now, your championship match, 236 to 202.
Hi. Oh, I'm loud.
You are hot. That was hot.
Sorry.
It's okay. You just won. It's all right. First of all, Shayna Ung, as we get you ready to be on camera here in just a few seconds. Here we go. Shayna Ung, congratulations. 3rd title, as we just talked about and as Robin mentioned. When you stepped onto the lanes to face Brianna Cote, it truly looked like you were as determined as maybe you've ever been to get a dub. And what was that truly the case where you just said, hey, the last time I won was 2019. It's time to get that off the bat?
I was determined, but more than anything else, I was very nervous. Because, Bri is a strong competitor. She's my friend as well. And ever since my last title in 2019, I have knocked on the door a few times, made a couple of shows, but they always didn't quite work out. So I think every opportunity counts, and I just wanted to make this one count. So the things that I told myself were just to just make good shots, and I'm glad the pins fall like they fell my way. Because I had a lot of bad carry today. Yeah.
They were talking to Rob a little bit during your matches. You decided to have 2 different rock stars. I know it was a key ball for you throughout qualifying. How much confidence did you feel in drilling one just for the show? Were you a part of that conversation? What was that like?
Yeah, the second rock star came just right before the show, and the only difference were the pin to PAP. The rest of the numbers were the same. So we just wanted it to have a little more push to get through the fronts. And I was glad it played out. I tried it on the practice pair and, gave myself some time to get comfortable with it. And I guess this is the thing that we learn to get used to on tour, right? Like to drill the ball and to straight away be throwing it and to be, scoring with it. So yeah, I mean, this comes with experience over the past many years that we've been on tour.
No doubt. I think it also comes with having a lot of trust in your ball reps. How's that relationship been with Rob since you've been here?
I worked with Rob last year. It was my first time working with him, and I made a show last year as well. Just didn't win, but I made a show. So I think, things like that, to understand each other's bowling and each other's communication, I think is the most important. It takes time, and I think more than anything else, we are only getting stronger as a team. Yep.
Shane, I got to ask you, of course, you missed a 10-pin in the 9th frame. And I'm sure I could imagine what you were thinking in that moment, and you allow your opponent to have the opportunity to shut you out.
Yeah.
And then in a very odd turn of events, she misses a spare, and then you find yourself as a champion in that sense. What was going through your minds in the 9th and 10th frame, really just the 9th, from start to finish there?
So, to be frank, my spares today weren't great. I feel like it could have been much better, which was why I was practicing my spares a lot on the practice spares. And I was just telling myself, like, okay, so that's why the game before, when I made the 3, 6, 9, 10, that was like a huge achievement for me. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, I think the 10 pin that I missed was really, I should have taken a bit more time to, settle down, and because I was a bit frustrated that it didn't carry. So I think settling down a little bit more on hindsight, would help me. Yeah.
Well, you settled down enough.
Yeah.
You're a champion again.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And,
Congratulations.
we'll see you at the Queens.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome. That is Shayna Ung, champion here again on the PWBA Tour, 2018, 2019, and now 2025. And with that, folks, that is going to do it for us here tonight. What a show. Briefly, Sid, if you can sum this up as best as you can, what would you say?
I think Shayna said it best. Every opportunity counts, and it's not just the shows that you make, it's also every single frame. Any opportunity that you have to not just, bowl a good frame, but also I heard in our player roll call the interactions with the fans during the Pro-Am. Just any opportunity that you have to spread the love for bowling, to make good shots, it's an opportunity that should not be missed, especially while we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of, the relaunch of the PWBA Tour.
It is indeed the 10th anniversary of the PWBA Tour. What a moment, certainly, for Shayna Ung. Got to give some credit, a lot of it, to Brianna Klemmer. She bowled fantastic throughout the entire event. Obviously, some unfortunate circumstances and some missed spares, of course, are the difference here. But it did tell me, and Bree said this, that she felt as prepared as she's ever felt at the start of a season. I think that was very much on display. What else do you think we can expect from Bree Clem this season?
A bit of fire. She just missed out on winning another title. I think we're going to see a sense of just, I really want this, and I know I'm just this close. I just need another opportunity to win again, and I'm not going to let this happen another time.
Congratulations again also to Lindsay Boomershine and Brianna Cote, as well as Verity Crawley, all making the show today. But Shayna Ung is your champion, and a $20,000 check goes to Shayna Ung as well, the first champion here in the 10th anniversary season of the relaunched PWBA Tour. Feels really good to say that. Sydney Brummett, great job as always. Appreciate you tuning in and joining us today.
Glad to be here.
For Chase Kaufman, Spencer Mosier, fantastic job as well. Gents, Curtis Von Kruger as well. I want to thank the United States Bowling Congress and the USBC Board, the Bowling Proprietors Association and the BPAA Board, Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider of the PWBA and the USBC, the wonderful athletes that we just watched here. So great, so phenomenal. Folks, please tune in throughout the entire season, only on Bowl TV and CBS Sports Network, of course. The first major next week, USBC Queens, will have qualifying match play throughout the week. And then, of course, the show on May 20th. I believe it's at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Of course, check your local listings on CBS Sports Network. And finally, you, the Bowl TV community, congrats again to Ulysses, Sally, and Thomas. 3 bowling ball winner giveaways today. Shout out to you guys. Again, be looking out for your email from the Bowl TV marketing squad. Again, for For the entire crew and the great people here at West Ridge Lanes, we say so long for now. This has been a presentation of the Go Bowling Topeka Open. You watched it live and only on Bowl TV. And remember, bowling lives here. Good night, folks.